Explorers, Kita Explorer here, and I'm back with another sustainability video. Today I'm going to share how I have been minimizing my flights to reduce my carbon footprint. A couple weeks ago I talked about why traveling by plane is bad for the environment, but I want to talk about how I reduce my carbon footprint through travel. So let's get into today's video. Before we do, I am Kita the Explorer, and here on my channel I talk about all things travel and sustainability. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you'll be notified when all of my videos are released. Now let's get into today's video. So I just want to point out it's very important for you to care about these things, because I did receive some very selfish comments about people's consumption, that they're just going to still continue consuming. That's not the answer, folks, because if you continue consuming and everyone continues to consume, we're going to use everything up. We need food and water to survive. And those things are going to deplenish if we keep over consuming the planet. So first off, one way that I have been minimizing my carbon footprint with travel is to slow travel. So I don't take those quick weekend flights anymore, because that is very wasteful to fly back and forth and using all that carbon usage for just 2-3 days. So now I go for a whole week if I want to travel somewhere. At least I'm not going on short trips anymore. So that's one way to reduce my carbon usage, is to just actually sit down and not do anything and not take short flights or short trips. Another option is to just take alternatives. Don't travel by plane. Out of the modes of transportation, traveling by plane is not the best. So if I do, for some reason, travel to Europe, I'm going to travel to Europe, and then I'm not going to take a plane anywhere else in Europe until it's time for me to come back to the United States. So I'm going to travel by train, travel by car. If I can, I'm going to walk or take a bike. I'm going to look at alternatives, and that's what I do anywhere I go. Like recently, I am planning an upcoming trip here in the US, and I'm like, the US is not good with trains, okay? Europe has a wide train network. We do not in the United States. It's very unfortunate. So I was looking at alternatives to get to a city. Out of Atlanta, it only goes 2 ways, DC or New Orleans. If I want to go over to Tennessee or Kentucky, there's no option except for me to drive or take a plane. So I do look at alternatives to see if I can get the most eco-friendly option when I go somewhere. Another thing that I do to help reduce my carbon footprint is actually volunteering in my environment. So here locally, I volunteer with Trees Atlanta once a month, where I'm either planting trees. Planting trees is from October through March. And then when it's not planting season, I'm removing invasive species or taking care of trees previously planted. That is very important to help my local community, make sure the environment is still thriving and the urban forest is still being protected here in Atlanta. Now, another thing I do to reduce my carbon footprint is that after each flight, I actually donate money to Arbor Day Foundation. Arbor Day is a foundation where you donate money and they actually go out and plant trees. Trees are one of the key solutions to climate change, because trees actually eat the carbon that we're putting into the air and they store it. That is food for them. And that's why it's bad to cut down trees, because when you cut down the trees, all the carbon that the tree has eaten goes back into the environment. So that's why deforestation is one of the biggest problems as well, or one of the bigger problems with climate change. So I always donate money to offset that carbon usage by plane, by planting trees. If I can't do it, then someone else can. And there are various calculators out there where you can calculate how much carbon that you use to kind of give you a sense of how much you should purchase in trees that be planted. Another thing that I do is to reduce the amount of flights that you do in a year. Years ago, especially like way before the pandemic, I used to always be like, it used to be a thing to count how many flights that I was taking during the year. I thought that was cute. It's not cute anymore once I became educated and learned that it's not good. So I've been trying to reduce my flights. Reducing my flights means, hey, I can enjoy my own city here, which I do prefer to enjoy Atlanta in the summertime. Summer is great in Atlanta. So I don't take flights or travel in Atlanta. I'm just here and enjoying life here in the city. So I'm not going to just pick up and go because there's all this flight deal came out and I want to go. I have to make sense of what time of the year I'm going and if I actually should go. I really do encourage you to at least cut one trip out of your schedule for the year and try to make that a trending thing. It will definitely really help. And it also saves money in your pocket as well as save you some time. Also, with reducing flights, I always try to make sure I'm flying direct. So I'm going to start at point A, which for me is Atlanta, and go to point B, and that's it. I'm not going to have a layover and take multiple flights to get somewhere. I know for some people that may not be easy. Like if you live in Augusta, Georgia, you only going to be able to go to Charlotte or Atlanta. But there are options for you to get to, at least I can't remember Charlotte, but there are options for you to get to Atlanta by van, where you could drive yourself, where you can cut down on a little bit of emissions instead of actually flying to those cities. And plus, those flights out of Augusta and those smaller airports may get canceled more frequently when there are issues at the major airport. So at least your destiny is in your hands once you get back to the major airport. But it definitely helps saving emissions when you reduce flights. Lastly, when I do book flights, I book flights with an airline that is more conscious about the environment. There are airlines out there who are not as conscious about it. Also, if you go on Google Flights tries to help you with their estimations of emissions. So you can tell if that flight has more emissions going out of the plane or less emissions or is about average. You can see that actually on Google Flights. So I use those different tools to help me book flights to reduce my carbon usage. All right, explorers. So I really hope you take this information into your head to start processing how you're going to lower your consumption of carbon and reducing your carbon footprint through travel. Whether it's slow travel, whether it's taking alternatives, reducing flights, volunteering, donating, whatever it may be, and a combination of those things. I hope you look into doing this because the future matters for us, because things are happening now that are not good for us and our future, for our future children and generations. So I hope you take this into consideration. If you have any questions about this video, make sure you leave them down below. I'll try to answer them to my ability. And if you have any comments, leave them down below as well, but keep them classy, all right? Make sure if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe if you are not already and hit the notification bell. It's free to do so and helps me provide more better content to you in the future. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Make sure you share this video with your friends, family, and social media networks so they can be educated on this topic as well. And if you're interested in supporting my business, you can visit my merchandise store, link down below. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day or night wherever in the world you are. Bye.